Hey people, it's me again. So, anyways, I guess this time of year is where I started to get a little bit more reflective about how the year has been, because of the fact that there's only about maybe like 4 more months left of the year, and then we're going to a new year again. And also, it's like the whole new TV season or the new school year kind of starts and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, as far as like things go, like the last 5 or 10 or 15 or even 20 years, it seems a lot of that stuff kind of changes so much. I think I think for starters, with like the 5 years ago, it was just me dealing with the breakup with Drew, and I guess I would say it was just difficult for me was the fact that a guy that you like could lie to you, and not only lie to you but lie to another person as far as that goes. And in a way, it was like, I don't know whether if I was like the boyfriend or whether I was just the other guy or something like that. That sort of thing. You know, and a lot of the difficult part was just simply getting over the fact that all this anger and I think I was also like the guilt feelings and all this other stuff, and I was going for all these different emotions and did not know how to handle all these kind of emotions. And I think right around this point, I think maybe a little bit earlier, was where I was kind of pretending that maybe I'll get back together with him at that point, even though it was not going to happen. Not because of like not because of like what I've done, you know, but also what he'd done, as far as that goes. And I think I was just doing that sort of thing just to kind of avoid dealing with all those feelings at that point. But it's like, I was like, now it's like I don't even really think of him that much anymore. Although it's like I said before, being an Aspie, it's like I can recall these kind of things like as if it was yesterday. So it doesn't necessarily mean I still think of them that often. It's just one of those little things. So as far as like 10 years ago, that was basically the whole problem with like dad being in my way, and then not just dad, but it was also like Matt, and I think for the most part it was myself, to tell the truth. you know and I think it was right around that time. I think it was like about a couple of weeks after it, because it was like the first week of like September was when we had to put Tom to sleep, as far as that goes. And my old cat, and in a way I never really had uploaded any kind of videos of him on YouTube. I mean, I did record a couple of videos on my mini DV camcorder at the time, but it's like I don't really have like the firewire cables or whatever it is that I need to kind of put that on the computer, or to like to put that on YouTube, as far as that goes. You know? Although, I mean, in a way, I still miss Tom as far as that goes, because he was kind of like one of my first pets as far as that goes. But in some ways, it's like that's kind of talked about like maybe about 5 years ago. It's like I had to make room for other pets as far as that goes, and you know, just as much as like I had to like make room for other guys that would be like my boyfriend and all that kind of stuff, and that the way like it is that Ricky is always gonna be like my first boyfriend as far as that goes, even though I didn't really have a whole lot with him, but he was always gonna be my first boyfriend as far as that goes. You know, just as much as like with Tom and Bob were still like my first pets. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't love the boys as far as that goes. You know. So it's like the same way with like any like the other guys there. It doesn't necessarily mean I don't love those guys as much as like Ricky and all of that. So I mean, as far as like 15 years ago, I think at that point I think I was like all like emotionally exhausted. I think throughout the whole this the whole summer all the way to maybe a part of it towards the end of the year, or maybe like that point was being emotionally exhausted. And I think I was just emotionally exhausted from all the crazy shenanigans that was going on with adult transition at the time. But it's really more excusable now when I come to think about it, because the fact that they didn't really know much about Asperger's at the time, and it only been on the books I think maybe about 5 or 6 years at the time, and and that they were just simply like playing by ear and going by what they know, with like all the other kids there that needed more help, and in a way I didn't really like all these sort of things that I was being like voluntold and all this sort of stuff, and in all these other little things there, and like and I think what really was like the last straw for me was early on that year, was when we were pulled out of my Tai Chi class to go like to some sort of field trip to the Goodwill store that was way out over like in Huntington Beach somewhere, like off of like Fairview or Edinger or somewhere, and I I hated it so much that I wanted to call one of my aunts that lives by there to pick me up and my best friend at the time. You know that it was just that bad. That I just didn't like that sort of thing there. To tell the truth. You know, but I think all of that year that I was just emotionally exhausted, and that I needed to take a break from adult transition and all of that sort of stuff, just for my sanity and all of that. And it was right around that time when my mom got the job to go to Dallas, as far as that goes, and I basically had used that as an excuse to leave adult transition as far as that goes. But even if that never occurred, I was still gonna leave anyways, due to all the kind of little things that they were going on at that time, and a lot of it was also me kind of avoiding all these kind of problems there, because I just didn't know how to deal with these kind of problems at the time. Whether it was that girl Jamie that was annoying as far as that goes, and this other guy that I also thought they was kind of annoying, and then I just simply wanted them to stay the hell away from me, because otherwise I would tear them so far of a new one that goes back to the Stone Age or something like that kind of stuff. And it's a bit strange how a lot of those kind of things just seem to be like it was still yesterday, but even though it's been like about 10 or 15 years, but anyways, that's kind of like my 2 cents on these kind of things about reflections and all that kind of stuff there. So anyways, talk to you guys later.